In 2023, I watched 40 new movies. Some were great, some were terrible, mostly kind of middling, but there were quite a few gems here and there, plus a sequel to one of my favorite movies of all time. So here listed are my favorite movies of 2023. Number 10, Cobweb. An 8-year-old boy tries to investigate the mysterious knocking sounds that are coming from inside the walls of his house, unveiling a dark secret that his sinister parents have kept hidden from him. This slot could have gone to a few different horror movies like Talk to Me, Skinamarink, Evil Dead Rise, maybe even Infinity Pool, but ultimately Cobweb just stuck out in my head much more. It's a classic fun Halloween movie that's absolutely dripping with atmosphere. I mean, their backyard is an actual pumpkin patch, come on. The cast is really solid too, especially Anthony Starr as the dad. He is just kind of doing his normal Homelander evil stare, but I really like that evil stare, so it's kind of fine. If you're a sucker for horror, then you can't miss this one. Number 9, Cuando Cita la Maldad, or When Evil Lurks. In a remote village, two brothers find a demon-infected man just about to give birth to evil itself. They decide to get rid of the body, only to end up unintentionally spreading chaos. This is a very different horror movie than Cobweb. I would not describe any part of this film as fun. I just remember finishing and everything just felt so bleak. I had a similar feeling when I watched Hereditary, and I vowed to never watch that again. Coming out of Argentina, Cuando Siete la Maldad pulls no punches. It has some very gruesome gore and very dark themes. I have a hard time recommending it, but for the right kind of sicko like myself, it's an unforgettable experience. Number 8, The Killer. After a fateful near miss, an assassin battles his employers and himself on an international manhunt he insists isn't personal. I wasn't really sold on this one for the first 15 minutes or so. It was this self serious, overly macho, overwritten narration in the main character's head. And then, after all this buildup of the perfect assassin, the first thing he does is immediately miss his target. I was all the way in after that. For the rest of the movie, it's just a fun ride, with the simultaneously most competent and most bumbling protagonist. Director David Fincher always has a great eye for visual style, so it just looks fantastic, and Michael Fassbender can do no wrong, so it's a strong recommendation from me. Number 7, Nimona. When a knight in a futuristic medieval world is framed for a crime he didn't commit, the only one who can help him prove his innocence is Nimona, a mischievous teen who happens to be a shape-shifting creature he's sworn to destroy. I feel like we're on the edge of an American animation renaissance. Well, except for Disney, I guess. It feels like studios are starting to really lean into the strengths of digital animation instead of just trying to replicate live action as closely as possible. Nimona's animation style nicely complements its retro future world. The voice acting is great, especially Reese Ahmed, and it's always great to see queer representation in mainstream kids entertainment. It's got a great sense of humor, fun characters, chaotic action, and a lot of interesting themes. Number 6, Killers of the Flower Moon. When oil is discovered in 1920s Oklahoma under Osage Nation land, the Osage people are murdered one by one until the FBI steps in to unravel the mystery. I mean, yeah, it's another fantastic Martin Scorsese film. While not his best, and with a weirdly over the top performance from Leonardo DiCaprio, Killers of the Flower Moon is still a really interesting look at native white relationships in America. It was also personally interesting to me as an insulin dependent diabetic because of the large focus on the initial rollout of insulin. The best part of the movie by far is Lily Gladstone. Her performance was captivating and incredibly affecting. You believe both her real love for DiCaprio's character, her fear, her despair, and her utter feelings of betrayal. Robert De Niro and my Loki maybe favorite working actor, Jesse Plemons, were both great as well. Production design was, of course, impeccable. The direction was super strong and focused. Honestly, the biggest issue with the movie is the bloating, and as a result, the pacing. This is a long movie, and it feels like it. I don't understand why no one can just cut a movie down to a reasonable running length anymore. In my opinion, it makes for a snappier, more focused, and better paced story. This is still worth a watch, just make sure you're ready for the time commitment. Number 5, 20 Days in Mariupol. As the Russian invasion begins, a team of Ukrainian journalists trapped in the besieged city of Mariupol struggle to continue their work documenting the war's atrocities. I saw this documentary at Sundance, and it really impacted me. I think the cleverest part of the film is the meta commentary on the nature of journalism, and for lack of a better term, showing off of human tragedy. When the documentarians first arrive in the city, many of the citizens are hostile towards them, one even accusing them of prostituting out their own people. As the siege continues, however, the people understand them more, and even make great sacrifices to protect the journalists and get their footage out of the city. There's some very effective sequences where they show raw footage recorded by the team, and then show clips of news programs displaying the same videos. It really helped emphasize the importance of chronicling these atrocities. And that's to say nothing of the Ukrainian people in the sea themselves and all the suffering they endured. Definitely one of the most interesting documentaries I've ever seen. Number 4. They Cloned Tyrone. A series of eerie events thrust an unlikely trio onto the trail of a nefarious government conspiracy in this pulpy mystery caper. I pulled these summaries from IMDb, and I am aware that this one is terrible and not very interesting. However, I think the best way to go into this movie is completely blind, which is the way I did. I heard a recommendation to watch it, knew nothing else, and was captivated the whole time. It's good to see John Boyega back to his urban sci-fi roots, much like Attack the Block. I also really like Jamie Foxx and Teyonah Parris in the movie. The Clone Tyrone is a bit harsh content-wise, with lots of language, violence, sexual content, etc. That might be more of a draw than a detriment, but your mileage may vary. Definitely check this one out if you, like me, completely missed it dropping on Netflix. Number 3. Oppenheimer. The story of American scientist J. Robert Oppenheimer and his role in the development of the atomic bomb. If you told me that Christopher Nolan would be releasing his best directed film yet, and that would only be my third favorite film of the year, I would not believe you. Yet, here we are. Regardless, Oppenheimer was an incredible experience. Visually stunning, emotionally raw, and hauntingly bleak, this movie may have stuck in my head longer than any other this year. It's an incredibly powerful look at arrogance, brilliance, regret, and decisions that inevitably change the world forever. Number 2. Barbie. Barbie and Ken are having the time of their lives in the colorful and seemingly perfect world of Barbie Land. However, when they get a chance to go to the real world, they soon discover the joys and perils of living among humans. It seems like this movie has been somewhat polarizing among the people I've talked to, or maybe just the men, but I loved it. Its commentary is poignant, if not especially deep, but maybe as people we've shown our need for this message to be spelled out very clearly. The production design and costuming were top notch. The performances were excellent. It was just funny. Ryan Gosling was especially good, and his beach fight into musical number is one of the best things I've seen this year. I'm Just Ken still comes up in my playlist pretty often. I do have some minor nitpicks, mostly to do with Will Ferrell in the last 10 minutes or so, but honestly, those are pretty mild compared to how much fun I was having with the rest of it. What can you say but that the plastic was fantastic? And the number one movie of 2023, in my humble opinion, is Spider-Man Across the Spider-Verse. Miles Morales catapults across the multiverse, where he encounters a team of spider people charged with protecting its very existence. When the heroes clash on how to handle a new threat, Miles must redefine what it means to be a hero. I've been waiting for this sequel for 5 years, and it did not disappoint at all. Into the Spider-Verse is one of my favorite films of all time, with the leap of faith being my absolute favorite scene in any movie. While Across the Spider-Verse did not connect with me emotionally as well as the first one, I can't express how much the visual style impressed me. Honestly, it almost could have ended after the first sequence in Gwen's universe, and I might have been happy. The watercolor backgrounds are so creative and interesting, and that energy just continues throughout the whole rest of the movie. The chase scene in Nueva York is maybe the most insane animation I have ever seen. I went back and rewatched that scene, pausing basically every 5 seconds, and I'm sure I still missed tons of gags and references hidden in the background. It is an incomplete narrative, but even if the third movie is a complete disaster, I would still love this movie. I am eagerly anticipating the release of Beyond the Spider-Verse, but I am willing to give this creative team all the time they need to maintain this level of quality. It has been an amazing year to be an animation and a Spider-Verse lover.